So y'all guys, it's a pre-recorded, live, already uploaded. Today's the 24th of March. Monday, spring break, first day. Yeah, you know how it goes. I want to talk about the masculinity crisis that we're having, said by, Anthony Mackel, the cast of Captain America, Brave New World, the new movie series by, Marvel, you know, the cinematic universe. They call it MCU, whatever, and then who commented on it was Joe Budden and Melissa Ford. They had like a little debate and so on and so forth. And I mean, I could agree that we are having a masculinity crisis became an epidemic upon men, or we refer to as, males. So like there's a male and there's a female. There's a male side, there's a female side, there's a male bathroom and female bathroom because gender, we're referring to. Yeah, the masculinity crisis. Like what man is having a masculinity crisis? You're not necessarily having a masculinity crisis, you're having a identity crisis. You don't know what you are. You're trying to be a jack of all trades or be something that you're not. And it's taken away from your masculinity because you're trying to be many things and you don't feel comfortable in the way you are. That's why you're having a so-called masculinity crisis. You know, that is what you are. You can see a man doing his own thing, but then you judge your mind like, "Hey, why you doing that? Oh, he look ugly, but he doesn't care because he's comfortable in his own way of being. He's not what you call insecure, insecure, and that's masculinity. You know what I'm saying? He's able to go off about life without caring what people think or say, and he's comfortable in his way of being. He doesn't care about norms, social norms or whatever. He's able to follow his own being. He doesn't gotta like pick back of other people what they're saying and the personalities and characteristics. That's why guys are having an identity crisis because they're trying to be something they are not or be like other people. You know what I'm saying? They're like clones. You look at people nowadays, they're like clones of each other. Like be yourself. They can't stand, on their own. It's just the fear of being, lonely. You know what I'm saying? But it's like if you're comfortable in your own being, own way, that should motivate somebody beside you to be that way because you're being true, you're being authentic. So that's what being masculine is resisting and having will to be yourself and continue with life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like guys are having a masculinity crisis, but like these same type of guys were, you know, lipstick, they paint their nails, they wear skinny jeans, they have crazy hairstyles, they dye their hair, they sag their pants. It's like, bro, you feel like that's what masculinity is in your freaking mind because you think you're comfortable with that, but it's like, what are you doing? I'm not doing that. I'm not walking around here looking, like a yag. And then the other people would say that they're having a masculinity crisis. No, they're having a identity crisis because why the hell are you doing things like that? Acting like a tart. They're acting that way when they could just, work out or run or push themselves or self improve. They just don't want to. They're just lazy. They're lazy. So guys talk about a masculinity crisis. Well, you got to question yourself to see if there's anything wrong with you. Because why would you say anything like that? You should be comfortable with your own self and start to be more of yourself and be a better version of yourself. Not be like, oh, there's a masculinity crisis. That sounds like some craziness. That's just the same thing when transgenders complain when they can't use the same restroom. That's like kind of the same argument when you say the masculinity crisis. It don't even sound right. I'm not having a masculinity crisis. I could be myself. I know that if I sag my pants and it shows my, buttocks, then that is really just unmasculine. That's very just suspect. I know if I, dye my hair pink, blue, yellow, red, orange, I'm trying to look, you know, effeminate. You know what I'm saying? It's because guys, they choose to be feminine. They want to be, I'm not saying they want to be ladylike, but they want to do that. They say it's art. I get it. You're part of like the model industry, so you got to do certain things, or you're in the movies. Okay, that's probably like a small exception that I'm gonna use as an excuse. But if you're doing that, and then you're the one complaining that you're having a masculinity crisis, you never had a male, well, that's on you, bro. You got to go on that hero's journey and become a man. You got to spend time in solitude. The guys nowadays, they don't want to be a man, I guess. They don't want to be what you call masculine. They're having a masculinity crisis. They're promoting coloring your nails black, you know what I'm saying, and sagging your pants. They're having it. A woman can't tell you to be a man or not. So why the hell was you arguing with her? Because Joe Budden was arguing with her like she's supposed to understand what being a man is like. If you're not even already a man itself, why do you expect this girl to tell you what being a man like and complain about it? You're having it by yourself. Because I don't have a masculinity crisis. Because if you're a man, you have, more masculine energy. And a lot of guys are not operating in masculine energy. They're acting like B words, feminine. They're soft and they're timid. So nothing wrong with being like a soft, but it's to a level where like it affects you the way you are. Like everything is just so sensitive and you're just crying and being sporadic about it. That's when it's an issue. Of course, you want to be calm and carry some class, not act like a jump off. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're acting in a masculinity crisis, then you need help. You need to spend some time in solitude and find what being a man is like. Nobody can teach you what being a man is. Because you can tell guys this and that. You can tell them, hey, bro, do this. This is going to help you be better. They're going to deny it and reject it because they want to play Madden or they want to play their video games. They want to play World of Warcraft. They don't want to do anything that kind of disciplines them and makes them sharp. You know, they don't want to do anything. They don't care about becoming men. So they can't complain that they're having a masculinity crisis. That's on them. So when things get hard, if the world is so-called, ends, then it's like that's on them. They're gonna have to really learn how to fight and have their instincts and really tap in with themselves. And they don't want to wait till it's too late. That's why they're gonna do what you call UBI, universal basic income, because they know that most people, especially guys, are finished. They don't have the fight in them. You must find the fight within you. A woman can't do it, so why you, Joe Biden, you're arguing with a woman? Because if you're a masculine guy, a woman is going to respond to you by being feminine. It don't matter how bold or whatever she says she is. I don't have a problem of a masculinity issue. If you have a masculinity issue, then you're probably in a closet. Like that's some victim stuff, man. Guys are having a masculinity crisis. Men ain't doing nothing. Oh, because I'm leaving a job and life is hard, I'm having a problem. No, I'm just rejecting that. I'm just making a decision of me not doing that. It's not me having a problem or issue or mental health crisis. No, I just don't want it. It's just for my way of being. Sometimes it may be personal, and sometimes it's for the best of me. But it's like, why would I say I'm having a masculinity crisis? That's just insane, yo, dog. Like, I can't believe a guy actually said they're having a masculinity crisis. They need help. Nobody told her to wear skinny jeans. I saw a guy at school wearing bonnets and skinny old jeans and belts and certain tires and cloth. Nigga, nobody told him to wear that. Nobody told him to look like a fabulous or gangster-licious, if I'm pronouncing it right. Nobody told him to put it on his head. Cause I remember like I wear a bonnet on, like I thought I'm just trying to like take care of my hair. And guess what happened? Some Jamaicans got on me for that, like some Jamaican guys. Cause like you shouldn't be wearing that. I get you gotta protect your hair, but go do something. Go put a bag on your hair or a wave cap or whatever. Don't or a do rag. Don't put like a bonnet on. That's for for the feminine entity, women. So for guys to say they're having a masculinity crisis, they're probably having an identity crisis because you should be a man to begin with. You should be comfortable in the way you are. You should be improving. That's if you're doing anything. But a lot of these guys aren't really doing anything with their lives. They're not striving for better. They don't have a moral compass. They want pleasure or something. So guys saying they're having a mental health crisis, they need to be checked. Because why would he even say that? You should be comfortable in the way you are. These guys can't do things without getting input from, they peoples or, they dogs, they homies. Or they got to see if the people like her or the ladies or like, that's like a masculinity crisis. That's on you, bro. You can't blame nobody else for that. I don't have a masculinity crisis. I can go everywhere just by myself and not even care and just be me because I'm covering my own being. And I'm able to, defend myself, especially verbally. I'm not gonna buck down unless I really have to. Unless there's a gorilla in front of my face, of course I'm not gonna fight a gorilla. I'm not gonna last to even tell you this. So guys talking about they have a masculinity crisis, this is crazy. They just have to make the decision to be more of a man and do things that help them tap into their masculine energy, their masculine essence. And that's gonna be by self-improving, tapping into their mind, becoming better, rejecting certain things, having discipline and willpower. Of course, not every man is equal to born the same, but they must tap in with themselves because they only know themselves. They're with themselves 24/7, thinking or whatever, you know. So I don't know. They're able to get that game pass and play, their stupid little, shooting game or whatever game they play. They're able to, you know, get some DoorDash and Grubhub and eat all that, genetic modified food, which is stripping all the natural hormones and nutrients that's for your body. That makes you less of a man and developed. That's on them. They don't want to like do this or fast. That's on them. So guys saying they have a masculinity crisis is the most gayest thing I've ever heard. YouTube, please don't act up. But that's not even right. That's suspect. Okay, men are having a masculinity crisis, and men are those are not men. Those are infantized males. So I don't know what guys saying they're having a masculinity crisis. It's insane. You're having an identity crisis. That is what you're having. You're not having a masculinity crisis because that's not even masculine. You don't know yourself. You're confused. You're insecure. You're bothered. Or whatever this person does or guy does, it takes you. Or you're mad or you're triggered. You have an identity crisis. You're not doing anything with your life. You're not striving for better. Your mind is set in the wrong places. You're trolling people. You're harassing them. You're doxing people like because you have a problem with yourself. There's something really wrong with you. You have to fix it. You must remove the scraps, the scab, and heal and become better. That starts with you. You can't blame nobody else for you not being a man. Of course, there's going to be some, flack or whatever, because those people are not men also. They're not masculine. You know what I'm saying? Because they're weak. They're weak-minded. They're simple-minded. They want, and that's on them. So people saying that they're having a masculinity crisis, they're having an identity crisis. They don't know how to be themselves. They're not doing anything. They don't know how to, they have nothing about them. No true substance. It's fake. They have to do these type of things, live a certain way to feel as if they're masculine when they're not. They probably don't even care to learn what that word is. They don't care because they're arrogant. They're self-absorbed. They have this arrogant, feed me. I'm important mentality when they have done nothing to prove that. And I'm not talking about making $1 billion or making it make or joining the 1% or Fortune 500 company. I'm talking about proving to yourself in the mirror, looking at yourself in the eyes. If you could look at other people and put them down and bully them, but you can't even look at yourself in a mirror, there is something really wrong with you. You're actually having identity crisis, and you're there sure not even masculine. And you need to go fix that. I can't fix that for you because I'm busy doing what I have to do myself. So people saying that it's the A-ist thing ever. It's the most yag thing ever. It's the most fag get thing ever.